Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we're going to be going through that, the database training today, and talking about a couple of to-do items from today's training. I'm going to point those out. And we'll take a look at your members and all that kind of good stuff, confirm some of your setup items, talk about setup items. So it's going to be a lot of fun. It's really cool to start getting to see all the things that our site can do. I need to do one more thing before we jump in. There we go. That's fine. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So on this area, this is exactly what you guys are going to see once you've logged into the website, and it's comprised of a couple different dashboards. Everything you see here on this page is just an example. It's just a snapshot of what's going on your site. You'll have the ability to see even more detail on each of these items. This is just to give you a quick glimpse of everything. So at the top, we have our current membership roster and users you have in your member type, how many admin you have, and over time, how many prospects or our kind of included non-member member type. The cool thing is you can clear this 12,000 number, and it's going to take you directly to a profile list of just your members. Now you can things from this list, like send targeted email exports, but we're going to talk about this a little bit later. We're going to go ahead and go back to our home page for now, just by clicking our home icon in the top left-hand corner. In the right-hand corner, we have new members in the last 90 days. So same concept, it's just showing you only the new members that have joined in the last 90 days, just to bring them apart a little bit, giving you the ability to contact them frequently and quickly after they've become a member, reiterating the membership benefits they are gaining by being a member with you. Then we have our event dashboard. This is going to pull from your event registration, show you up to 3 past events, the date they were held on, and how many people attended. Upcoming events are just going to show you up to 3 upcoming events, the days that they were held on, the date that they will be held on, and how many people have registered so far. Lastly, we have our financial dashboard. This is going to show us our aged receivables, meaning how many invoices we have outstanding by how many days. So this is going to give us a big bar graph. If we have a current bar here, it's going to mean that we have that much money current and outstanding funds. 1 to 30 days means that invoice is, or those invoices 1 to 30 days past due, 31 to 60 days past due, 61 to 90 days past due, or 91 plus days past due. Lastly, we have our sales over time. This is going to be a line graph that will adjust with how much money comes in per month per revenue account. Any questions on anything that we have here on this kind of first dashboard area?
Nothing from me, I don't think yet.
Now, on the financial, for the most part, since we're free membership, we're not really going to see much in there unless we have an event that comes through, correct?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And so any type of money that'll come through, any type of money that's going to come through. In fact, and you know what, I always mess this up, but this aged receivables isn't even going to show us membership dues because it's not technically considered an aged receivable because it's not promised that we're going to bring it in, right? That's kind of like they have the option to either renew or not. But every other type of invoice will populate in us. So even for somebody who would have membership dues, they still wouldn't see the membership dues incorporated in this aged receivables area. Okay.
Amber, is this going to take the place of us doing like Eventbrite?
Good question. Yes,
like,
I mean,
because nothing would come theoretically through this unless we did it through this program, right?
Right. So, Adrian, this summer we did an event, and in order to get registered for it, we used Eventbrite, is what Jenna's referencing. So if we, so any event that we would host, a chapter event or a full ICE event, the registration process and collection of fees can go through this portal. Correct?
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And we really want to use our forms in the MemberClicks platform because that's what's going to collect that historical data, so you can search by who came to what event, to you know, a specific event, send them kind of targeted emails through that. You'll have invoice history in here that's going to be able to see and search by. So we definitely want to make sure that we use our forms. I am going to create it by files, but if you have any additional forms, we're actually going to do a forms training together as well so that you guys learn how to create them. I have not created a form in Eventbrite, so I don't know with what ease I don't know how easy it is. But I'll definitely give you guys a great training on the forms, and we can even revisit it because I'm sure you're going to have some questions. Okay, all right. The next item that we're going to go over is going to be your account. Now, you're not going to use the account settings too often, except for when you guys have graduated and you're ready to start calling into the help team with questions. They're going to ask you for your account number. We all have a million numbers to keep track of, so I'm not going to make you remember your account number for MemberClicks. We're just going to go to settings and account settings, and you'll be able to find that account number in this area whenever it pulls in, right here. This area is also great for you to keep track of how many profiles you've used out of your allotted profiles in your level. So it looks like you're just over the profile level that you guys are in. Are some of the prospects that you have in here, or are they all going to be paying members?
I don't think we put any prospects in, so I'm not sure what the difference is.
So a prospect would be somebody who's technically not paying their dues. They might want to pay dues with you eventually, like they don't act, oh, they're not paying dues anyways. Ah, that could be tricky.
Right.
So what benefits are they gaining by being in this profile here? Like as a member?
Are you talking about, sorry, Adrian, can you clarify? I'm not exactly sure.
You're totally fine, and bear with me because I am so used to using this like membership paying dues term. But so basically these guys, this 12,230 individuals, they are what we consider members. For you, that's not they pay dues. How do you determine who a member is?
If they are attending our events or if up to be a member. So in the past, if they came to our conference, they automatically became a member, or at one point we did paid membership. So they could become a member by paying a fee. So we got rid of the fee and just continued then with anyone who comes to our conference, basically, it becomes a member. And then, or that, you know, happen then with our members throughout the rest of the year outside of our conference.
Can non-members come to your conference?
Well, yes, they can, but once they up for our conference, automatically become a member.
Okay.
Don't you think this number's awfully high though, Amber? I mean, I wonder how many.
Because what we
like,
did,
it's not clean.
Well, what we did, Jenna, is we pulled from everyone who had been a member since 2013. So Vanessa went through, we pulled everybody who'd been a member since 2013, and then she went through and got rid of all the doubles.
Oh, so like if I was a member as jnilo at stmike.org and now I'm a member at nilo.gifts.net, would I have been cleaned or no?
Yes,
I could
correct,
be a member
Vanessa.
Twice right now.
Vanessa can, no, I'm pretty sure it was cleaned up so that there was nobody. So like if it was Jenna Nilo listed twice, your name was listed twice, no matter what your email was, we got rid of one and got rid of the most updated one based on date, based on membership date. So if you had become a member under your original email job in 2015, and then you became a member again at your new job in 2000, only had you in there as 2016.
And we have 12,000.
I know. But again, it's because we went back to 2013. So there's people in that group of 12,000 that maybe haven't necessarily renewed per se. So some of them are expired members, i.e.
Gotcha.
they didn't attend the conference again, or up until last year didn't pay their $35.
Right. Okay.
So that's how many unique individuals we've had as members since 2013, which is the last time that we thought that Reg Mill was approximately accurate.
Do you want all of your members to be able to go into their profile and update their profile information?
So one of the things that we taught, that I ran by the board when we saw that it was this high, was, and maybe this is where the prospect piece was sending out information. We want to send out information to those 12,230 some people and say, you have been an ICE member, you know, and then explain ICE membership is free. Here's what you get with the ICE membership portal. Are you still interested in being an ICE member? And then from there, they can update their profile. You know what I'm saying? Is that possible, or should we do that separate from the dashboard?
I think that's possible. Like if we moved them all to prospects and then allowed them to kind of like take a membership application, amount,
right,
and then they can like become a member. I'm just curious, and you do not have to answer this question. Why?
Because essentially what we weren't generating funds from it very much. It was about, out of our entire budget, it was getting us $10,000 basically. But that $10,000 was conference fees. So we didn't lose the $10,000 per se. We just changed that our conference is still the same price as it always has been. You just now have free membership. Because because we weren't getting people who were becoming members that much unless they attended the conference.
Okay, and so if somebody like fills out and get a free membership with you guys, what do they receive by having that free membership with you? Do they get any type of benefit?
They, in a roundabout way, yes. So they receive any information that we send out. They receive access to our events, and one of the things that they're going to receive potentially is a free access to a product that usually costs money. But they have to participate in an event to be able to get that access. But the only way that they know about it is that we're sending the information to them.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I get it. I got it. That makes sense to me. Okay, so then what we may want to do, there's two ways that we could do this. Either A, we could move everybody to prospects and say, hey, here's our membership application for a free membership. If you want to join, fill out all of this information on yourself so that we know we have the recently updated profile info. And here are the benefits you're going to gain by doing this. So we can either do that, or we can go through this process, launch, send a welcome email to your members and say, if you don't want to receive our communications, if you don't want to hear from us, let us know, or just unsubscribe from our emails. And can go in, we'll actually be able to see who's unsubscribed from emails, and then at that point we can maybe just like purge them.
I think I would prefer that option.
So we'll just keep them all as members. We'll start contacting them, when you're ready to launch. And as we do that, we'll just encourage them, let us know if you no longer want to receive contact or unsubscribe, and then we'll keep an eye on those unsubscribed members, and I'll make sure that you guys feel comfortable purging those unsubscribed, seeing who is, looking up who unsubscribed to begin with. And that, I think that will weed out people. Typically after the implementation process, my bills start to take a look at your numbers, and if it's still higher, then they're going to try to bill you. So maybe we might want to do like a soft launch and send out a welcome email and see what kind of responses we get while we're still together to begin that process of getting some of those members out. Does that make sense to you?
It does, and because that is a question that I had, because I knew when I was looking at the number of members that we were above what we had originally discussed.
Yeah, and we don't have to necessarily delete them. We could just move them to prospects. You have so room in your spec number. But even if you deleted a member and then they contacted you later on, you can always undelete. So deleting in our system is really more just like archiving. But that way we can start to get rid of some of those members. And what I don't want to happen is I don't want billing to just send you a bill for the next, they're not going to do that as long as you're in implementation. They might send me an email and say, hey, did you know ICE is above their number? And I'll say, yeah, we're actually working on this together. Not all of them are actual members. We're going to be moving some of them for implementation, and then they'll leave us alone.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
And then
So,
could we also, because one of the other things too is the accuracy of the emails. You know what I'm saying? So like, does it email isn't active anymore or whatever?
it does. So
okay, perfect. Okay, that's good. That's good, because then I'm thinking, with them, then those would also be ones that we would want to delete as well if the email isn't updated.
yeah, so for example, this is a bad example. I just wanted to show you. So we have a message reporting center that we're going to look at together at some point in our trainings. And in here, well, none of these are great examples, but basically, okay, so it shows you how many recipients you sent it to, how many were actually sent, how many there were that were, how many bounced.
Perfect. Okay.
You can click on that and we can see who those individuals are. If we're like, you know what, these are obviously bad emails, we can actually tag all of these people. We can, I think what I can do, I say to view all recipients and search results. Perfect. I can tag them from here with the actions button and mass change their member to a prospect.
Perfect.
So that'll hugely help you guys. We'll definitely do that. So we'll do that while we're still together and get rid of some of those guys.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to go back to that settings account stuff. The next item, you guys are in the, it didn't save. You are, oh, I'm in the, no, you're in the central time zone. Your membership year begins January 1st. You do have a member number turned on. You are using QuickBooks. When your members emails back to you guys from the emails they receive from MemberClicks, it's going to go to this info@iceberg.org. And then lastly, we have our billing contact information for MemberClicks to have on file. Any questions on this account settings page?
No.
Okay, awesome. The next item that we're going to take a look at are financials. So I'm going to go to financial and invoices. Now, this will be super helpful for your conferencing, obviously not for renewals. So I'm actually going to use the MemberClicks test site so we can see some completed invoices in here, a picture of what these are going to look like. So this is what your invoice list will look like once invoices are actually created in your system. This is going to hold all of your invoices forever and ever and ever. So of course, over time, you're going to have a ton of invoices in here. That's okay, because you can search your invoices to help you find what you're looking for by using our search bar in the top right-hand corner. We can search by first name, last name. We can search by email address or invoice number. First name, last name, organization, or invoice number are the 4 things we can search by. I went ahead and put my name in because I know I've got some invoices in here. If I search, it's going to show you just my invoices. We can also add filters. So we can filter by which ones are ad hoc, miscellaneous one-off invoices, credit memos, invoices created by forms like an event registration form, or renewals. So if we wanted to see just the items for my forms, we can select that. Now it's even more narrowed down. Now if I had some different statuses, meaning some of these were open, some were voided, some were paid, I can also use these additional selections at the top here to decide what type of invoice status I'm looking for. In this case, I only have paid, so that's not going to change anything. Some other really cool things that we can do in here is, let's say I give you guys a call and I say, hey, I really can't find my event registration invoice. Can you just resend it to me really fast? You can tag my invoice once you found it, select the email, and this is going to give you my default email address that you can send it to, or you can change it, or you can add additional addresses that maybe I want it forwarded to for some reason. You can also create a PDF, which is going to allow you to print the invoice off and send it snail mail. In addition to all of this, I'm going to go back to just some open invoices here. I'm going to filter by open. I'm going to take a look at one of these open form invoices. This is exactly what your invoice is going to look like. Your logo in the right-hand corner and your association information in the left-hand corner. Excuse me. You'll actually be able to put your logo in that you want to appear on your invoice and put the information in that you want to appear on the left side of the invoice yourself. And I'm going to show you where you can do that at. It'll be a piece of homework from today's training. It's really easy. You also have a notes section down here at the bottom. This is an external notes section, meaning that your members will see this notes feed. Most of the time I see this used for remit payment to information. You can also put in additional event details, whatever kind of info you might want to include. Not only do we have an external notes field, but we also have an internal notes field. So for me, if I walked away about 10 seconds later, I would totally forget why I voided that invoice to begin with. This will allow you to put in a note like voided because wrongly invoiced or something like that. So we would save that. And then it's going to let you know at what date that you created that note. So if you're ever curious when you created it, it's going to give you a timestamp. I can also remove that internal note. So once again, only you guys will be seeing those notes, nobody else. Before I keep going, any questions so far on this financial piece?
No.
Okay, awesome. And if you guys have a question, feel free to interrupt me too. Sometimes I can get on a roll. So if you're like, whoa, just holler at me, I'll stop. So your members, of course, will have the opportunity to pay any of their invoices online. They may also call you while they're driving down the road one day and say, hey, I keep forgetting to pay my invoice. Can you just take my credit information over the phone and pay it for me? You can absolutely do that. Pay invoice button. You can select that pay invoice, either apply your credit card information. The awesome, whatever address you have on file is going to auto-populate as the billing address, so you'll only need to change that if the billing address is different than the address you have on their file. You can select offline payment as well, select what type of offline payment you're creating, and this will allow you to determine whether you're collecting a check, cash, maybe some other. Once you've selected your offline payment type, you'll be able to put in a reference number or check number at the date you received, and then submit that offline payment. At that time, the invoice will show as paid in your system. Any questions on that process?
Not yet.
Okay, that one's pretty easy. I'm going to go the invoice list by selecting that invoice list icon, that first icon, and this brings us back to that first page we were looking at a little bit ago. Now, we have talked about our invoices, where they're housed, how you'll send them, email them, snail mail them, sort them, and search them. The next thing that we're going to talk about are the invoice templates. Traditionally, right, MemberClicks is really used for dues renewals. You guys are not going to be using that component system. So these invoice templates are going to be your bread and butter of the product. The reason why is because any type of invoice the system creates for you, you're going to want your individual, your members, knowing, first of all, they have an open invoice, maybe sending them reminders, maybe sending them another reminder, and then once they've paid the open invoice, letting them know, hey, we've received your payment, some type of payment confirmation. So really, invoice templates are going to do you're not going to have to manually chase down your invoices. You're not going to manually have to chase down conference payments. The system can do it for you if you leverage it the right way. So we're going to use those invoice templates. This is going to be a piece of homework that I'm going to ask you guys to do. So this is my first official item, and I am going to recap this in my follow-up email to you all. I've created a default. Don't worry about this default. You guys are never even going to use it because it's technically, you'll never need this. So I'm going to put a do not touch in here. But what I would suggest doing is sitting down and beginning by writing a list of all the types of invoices MemberClicks is going to create for you, whether it's events, donations, sponsorships, partnerships, any type of invoice. Just create that list. Then you're going to create an invoice template, a new invoice template for every type of invoice you wrote down. Since you guys, it sounds like you have a big conference every year, you may want a specific invoice template just for conferences, and then maybe another invoice template to house all the other types of event invoices. So we would just say maybe conference. You're going to set in that due date. So that's the due date for the day, that the invoice was created. Then that due date is when that invoice is due. Your information is that external notes area that I showed you on the invoice. I mentioned that a lot of times I see remit payment to information. I said sometimes tax. Lastly, you're actually going to tell the system what notifications and what verbiage you want it to send in regards to this invoice. So if I go into your system, I register for your conference by taking the conference registration form, and I can come back and pay that invoice later. You're going to want to turn on the new invoice email, so it tells you these notifications will be sent automatically when an invoice is created. So you're going to edit the email and put in some verbiage in this area, this text editor that's going to pop up at some point. There we go. Saying, thank you so much for registering for our conference. We look forward to seeing you in September, or whatever the conference is. Attached is your invoice. Please make sure you pay this invoice before the conference. And then you'll save. So you're going to do that for a new invoice email. Maybe you want to remind them 1 to 7 days before the invoice is due. Hey, you still haven't paid your invoice. You need to make sure you do that. Maybe you want to set up a past due anywhere from 10 to 45 days to go out once the invoice is due. And then the most important, I think, is the payment confirmation email. And you'll edit that email. Thanks so much for your payment. We look forward to seeing you at our conference. Does this concept make sense to you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's a little confusing to me, so if you guys get stuck on it, just let me know. We'll go back over it on our next training. But this is something that you guys to go ahead and complete. And like I said, it's tedious, and I feel like a lot of my associations just think it's not important, but it'll do so much work for you as far as having to prevent you guys from chasing down to be paid.
But all we're literally doing for the edit the email is we're just putting in the text that goes in it, right?
So what you guys are going to do is put in text turn on the ones that you want to use and put in the text that you want to go out to your members.
Okay.
So Adrienne, question on that. There was some paperwork that I had filled out that this seems very familiar. Yes, correct.
So traditionally that would have been used for, I've got it right here. Traditionally, this would have been used for renew. I can use this content to create these invoice templates for you if you want me to. But what type of, would it only be used for conferences, or what would it be used for?
Well, okay, so I'm going to back up here for just a second, because one of the things that we did talk about, because our memberships do, like, even though there is not money transferred, we still did want those membership renewals to go out.
Okay, and just be like a free membership.
Exactly, because part of the problem, and one of the reasons why 12,000 is because there was no way for us to really ever mass email or you know, communicate with people whose memberships had expired, and you know, it was very difficult for Vanessa to do that. I mean, she literally was doing it, you know, manually. So one of our thoughts was, it's going to help us keep our membership information up to date if they are receiving communication and or an invoice for $0 to renew their membership, i.e. update your profile and make sure that you continue to still want to be a member. Because it would also give them, you know what I mean? Yeah, so if they don't want to be a member anymore, even if it's free, they can then not renew. But we want to keep that going so that it's accurate.
I think that we talked about this, and I think that what I said, and if it doesn't sound familiar, just tell me. But so if we send out notifications, the reminder to pay your members' dues, it's not going to go out, because technically the second the notification goes out, the system's going to recognize, oh, this is for $0. It's technically already marked as paid. And so at that time, what the system will do is just send out the payment notification, and that's creepy for people because they're receiving, you've paid your dues, and they're like, but I don't have any dues. What did I pay? And then sometimes that causes some panic. So I think what I probably said is, instead of using our notifications in this form, in that way, instead, once a year, send out an email through the contact center saying, hey, you're still a member with us. We love you being a member. You know, once again, these are the benefits you're gaining by being a part of our membership. If you no longer want to be a part of our membership, please let us know. Do you remember us that said maybe just send that email out once a year?
Yes, that does sound familiar.
Because otherwise, do you see what I mean? Like, the way our system works is it's used to collecting money for renewals. And so if it doesn't have to collect money, it's going to go, and it's just going to send out a payment confirmation email. And while that makes sense to me, like, oh, they've confirmed that I'm still a member and I paid no dues, I can see that being extremely confusing for some individuals, and them going, oh my gosh, they have my credit card information on file and they're charging me, you know, and then you're going to get like a nasty gram or something.
Right. I think part of it was kind of, though, liking the idea of the automation of 30-day for, hey, your membership, you know, your membership is going to be due. Do you want to continue to be a member? Here's the membership to you if you continue to become a member. So like that setting up of that notification of 30 days before, you know, whatever, you know, that notification, that automatic notification would go out. Then December 15th, the automatic notification would go out. I think that in my mind, what I was thinking was beneficial of going through it as an invoice.
I see what you're saying. Let me put my brain on this.
Okay.
It's not going to work that way, but I'm wondering if I can find a creative solution that we can work for you. I know that it's going to automatically send out a payment notification, and I'm wondering if we can just make that payment. I don't know. Let me put my brain on it and let me see what I can come up with. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. I was in finance. Okay, awesome. We've talked about invoice templates. So these invoice templates, either way, are going to be really important for other types of invoices created in the system. So that document you filled out, that technically only has to do with dues renewals. You can use that verbiage and copy and paste it in these invoice templates if you want to. But these are meant to be a little bit more specific towards different types of invoices, like conferences, like, thank you for registering for a conference. Thank you for your donation, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then the only other thing that I'm going to ask for you guys to do in here in the financial portion is invoice settings. This is so easy. I mentioned earlier, you get to this, you'll get to determine what logo you want on your invoice. You can determine what information you want to show up on the left-hand corner of your invoice. So all you have to do in here is upload your organization logo, put in the information that you want in this area that you want to show up on the left-hand side of your invoice, and then determine what invoice number you want our system to start at for you guys. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's a pretty easy one. We have your revenue accounts. So I have your revenue accounts added in here from that chart of accounts that you need. If you guys ever wanted to add in a new revenue account, you're just going to select add new revenue account. You'll put in the revenue account name. If it's for dues renewal, if it's for dues revenue, you'll turn on dues. You're never going to have that, so you're just going to leave it turned off. And you'll save. So that's how you would add additional revenue accounts. The second that one of these revenue accounts are linked to money, meaning the second one of these revenue accounts have money inside of them in MemberClicks, you will not be able to delete that revenue account at that time, just to let you know. Okay. Lastly, we have just your demo account. Have you been in touch with Hart yet?
So, a little bit. One of the things that I had said that I was a little wanting to hold off on as long as possible, since we're not going to have any money going in and out, because we already had a contract for our conference with another vendor, that piece of it. So so right now we're paying Authorize.net. So what my thought was, transfer over to Moolah once our conference was over. I just didn't want to make that change since we have payments coming and going out of Authorize right now.
Okay, that makes sense. It makes me feel a little, okay. So warning, so you are going to put Authorize.net in here for now, you said, right?
Well, I guess we can't. So I know that we can. I guess my concern was, I think our contract officially said that we would be using Moolah, so I didn't know how that all worked. I just don't be paying Authorize.net and Moolah when we're not accepting payments through Moolah yet. We're totally fine moving over to them. I just can't commit to moving over to them until after the conference is over, because I don't want to deal with all of that. And
you're collecting all of conference stuff in your existing site using Eventbrite?
Correct. Not Eventbrite, but yes, through an exist. Yes, correct.
Okay. And when is your conference registration going to happen?
It's happening now.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. So my only thing, do not ever, 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 ever try to create an invoice in here without Moolah being set up. That has happened before, and the money goes into the air. And so it's a bad, bad problem. I just had this issue with a client who decided to kind of like free willy just start collecting dues. And after that, we were like, we will never, ever graduate anybody without Moolah set up. But it sounds like you guys are just not going to do it for a long time. And so that shouldn't hold you back from launching, because you just you don't collect money except for kind of once a year. So, but just to forewarn, make sure that you don't try to collect any money until you have that set up in the system. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. And, like I said, I foresee chapter events and some of the other events that we have easily running through here that or start any of those invoicing types of things till after February.
Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense. I get it.
Yeah.
No worries. Awesome. All right. Well, this is where that's housed. So right now we do have demo in here. And so when this is completed and it is the right one, it will no longer say demo. So keep that in mind as well. Awesome. Any questions on any of these financial pieces? Feeling good right now?
Thanks for you.
Okay. Awesome. And you guys are probably going to have more questions later on down the road, and that's totally okay. Like once your hand's actually in here in the system, and I expect that, and that is absolutely just fine. So let's go ahead and talk about, I'm going to go to database. And so attributes are what we use to characterize or describe your members. So my name is Adrienne. Attribute of me is my name. We break our attributes up into 3 different sections. So we have built-in attributes. That's what you see right here on my screen now. Built-in attributes are just the items that we've seen across the 1,800 plus associations we've worked with that we know you guys collect on your members, right? So, physical member, organization, name. Now we can't get rid of these in our system, but we can manipulate or expand upon. And so you can select up to 5 email addresses, 5 addresses, and 5 phone numbers on any member at any given time. For example, if I select edit settings for this phone number, Elliot already built out 2 different labels, a work phone and a cell phone. We could also have a secondary phone, a tertiary phone, maybe a spousal phone. Now I can't add any more because we've hit our 5 limit. So if at any point in time you guys wanted to expand how many phone numbers you're collecting on your members, how many email addresses you're collecting on your members, then you can absolutely add additional labels. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yep.
So that's built-in attributes. Then we have our system attributes. Now we cannot change some attributes. We can't even view them except for in your members' profiles. System attributes are things like member type, expiration date, join date, last renewal date. That is all about what kind of controls your members' membership period. So when are they going to get that notification 30 days before, letting them know, hey, do you still want to be a member with us, yes or no? So system attributes, we'll look at those in your members' profiles, but they are what they are, and they have to be what they are for the system to keep track of your members. Okay?
Okay.
Then we have, at the very bottom down here, custom attributes. Custom attributes are things that we would have seen in your database that we knew we needed to create additional fields for to hold that information that you've collected on your members. Right now, you guys have only our built-in system a title attribute. So we've created this new custom attribute to hold this. As you get comfortable in our system, if you want to get your follower, if you want to kind of make them more robust, have some additional demographics, you can add additional custom attributes at any given time. So even 5 years from now, you can come in here and add some more custom attributes. So go ahead and start kind of racking your brain on some things that you might want to add. If you're happy with what you have, though, leave it just as it is, and it's perfect just like it is right now. Any questions on those?
Yeah, Adrienne, that was actually something Elliot and I talked about when Vanessa and I met with him in regards to, for instance, finding out if our members are administrators or classroom teachers or IT directors. So is that where we would add that in?
It is. So what we would do is we're going to add a custom attribute. And so one of those, maybe...
so basically we want to ask them what their position is, but we want to be able to limit what their choices are.
So we would make this a selection set.
Okay.
And we would say like teacher.
Okay.
What were some other things that you mentioned?
Administrator. Coach. How many can we have?
As many as you want.
Okay. So, I mean, those are just some examples. For
Amber, do we want to do like a K-12 teacher and then?
Thinking is I think we need to sit down and discuss what that would be, because after I said administrator, then I'm thinking, well, we might actually want to break it down to superintendent or building principal too. So
you guys can get in here, and so I'm under database and attributes, and the very bottom of that page, custom attributes. If you want to get in here and play around, you're not going to break anything. So go ahead, add some more custom attributes. The only save it's not going to automatically show up in the member's profile. I actually have to go back to my database, back to my member type, and select Edit Settings and apply that custom attribute. So I'm going to assign an attribute C checked. I'm just going to check it and update. So now at this time, it's going to show up in your members' profiles, but not until we assign it. So I just wanted to mention that to you.
Okay.
So get in there and play around. See if you can come up, see what you can come up with, and we'll go back through them together. And if I feel like something's silly or doesn't make sense or could be done in a different way, then we'll just talk through it, and we can use it as like a learning experience kind of thing. Okay.
Great.
So the only other thing that I really wanted to review with you guys is how you can search and update your database. You can use the search. Oh, I'm sorry. I need to go back for just a second. I apologize. One more thing on attributes that we need to talk about. Up at the top, we have this profile owner attribute security, and then we have this attribute. What this controls is what can your members update in their own profiles. So if you want your members to be able to update their profiles, fill out some information, then you'll need to definitely go through this profile owner attribute security. And this is determining what they can edit, what they can see, and what they can't see at all in their profiles. If you get confused, we've got a legend here on the left. So I toggled all of these. So maybe you want them to be able to update their address. Maybe you want your members to be able to update their email, their contact name, their organization, their phone number, cell phone, title, what's your position. Maybe they can update all of that. But down here at the bottom, you have system attributes. So at minimum, you're going to want to make sure that they cannot edit this info, but only see it. I would not allow them to see last modified date, because that is kind of a system attribute they don't need to see. Same with group, it's just a system attribute going to confuse them, so I would just leave that off. And then same thing, they can see their member status, their member type, their username, and if you want them to see their member number, then you would allow to see that as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
As admin, you guys can edit whatever you want. Prospects are not even going to have profiles, but I always like to just allow them to see anything, because this also controls data merge and like dear first name. If you don't have it set that they can see that info, then it's going to be dear blank when they receive the email. For prospects, they don't even have profiles, so it doesn't matter what they can see. We're really just checking that they can see anything, so that if you send out emails with data merge info, you don't have to worry about a blank field being put in. You're allowing them to see their own name in that data merged field in the email. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
The only other piece to that is the attribute security. So this has to do with what your members can see in other members' profiles. You guys are so lucky because you only have this one member type. But then we're going to use our drop down. And as a member, you would need to determine, okay, what can members see in other members' profiles? What can they see in admin profiles? You don't want them to be able to see anything in prospect profiles. Lastly, you would need to do prospects and then public as well. So if you guys are going to have a public-facing directory for any reason, you'll want to make sure you fill out that public. If you don't, you can leave it just as it is. Any questions on that?
Nope.
Nope.
No.
Okay, awesome. So once again, I'm going to include some resources in my follow-up email that'll help you complete these if you get stuck or kind of lost anywhere. That'll help walk you through those. All right, so now we're into the fun part. If you guys want to search your database, you can use the search bar in the top right-hand corner. The second you type in 3 letters, it's going to do a full search, and it's going to find those 3 letters in first names, last names, email addresses, and organizations. So look at all of these searches. We can scroll along here. We can continue to our search. It's going to research for us. Once we find the profile we're looking for, we can select their profile. And it's going to bring us right into their specific profile. Now, these profiles are organized in a very specific way. Over here on the left-hand side, you have all of those built-in attributes: organization, email, phone, address, first and last name. Over here on the right-hand side, we have all of those system attributes. So built-in are on the left, system attributes are on the right: expiration date, last renewal date, join date, status, member number, member type, if they owe you a balance, and then group. We're going to talk about groups here in a second. You also can see when their profile was created and the last time their profile was modified. Down here at the bottom, we have our built-in attributes and those custom attributes, the one that we imported for you and then that new one that we created together. You can edit any of these fields by selecting the edit button in the top right here. So that's pretty easy. You can also look at your members' contact preferences. So this is where you can see what contact preferences they've set, including at the bottom, have they unsubscribed from your emails. There's an easier way to search for this as well, but this will just kind of tell you quickly if they're even getting your emails or not. Message history is going to show you every email that you ever send to this individual. E-list and committees have to do with social community. They're going to learn about that in the social community training. Submissions, any form submission this individual ever creates will be kept in the submissions tab, and then invoices will hold any invoices ever created for this individual, including open, paid, voided, partially paid, whatever the status may be. Any questions on our member profile?
No.
No.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So I'm going to go back. So now we've used our search tool. We found a profile. We learned about that profile. Now we're going to look at our profile list. Looking at our list is going to bring in every single individual from your database. So that's a lot of members. So it's difficult to kind of decide, who do I want to contact? Who do I want to export? We can actually use our advanced search tool over here in the top left-hand corner to narrow down those individuals that we want to send targeted email to. Maybe we want to search by who has completed a form, who has not completed a form. So we can do all of that in our advanced search box. We can search by attributes. So we can search by any of those built-in attributes, any of those custom attributes, and any of those system attributes. So maybe we want to look at the title, and I know like Miss was in there. I can search by that Miss title. Perfect, and it shows me that we have 4 people that have a title of Miss. Now, this is a silly example. You're probably not going to want to use this for a targeted email. But we start gathering additional demographics, like who's an administrator. Maybe you found some really awesome content, a really awesome blog that would appeal to individuals. You can get those profiles, tag them, and use your actions drop-down button on the right-hand corner to either contact them. That's going to pull them into our contact center where you can send out an email, export them. I love our export component because you actually get to determine what fields you want to export. So in the software where it just kind of gives me like a dump of everything and then I can never find what I'm looking for in the Excel spreadsheet, this you actually get to choose the columns that you're exporting. And then you would export that. You can create an ad hoc invoice. Maybe these 4 individuals wanted to buy a t-shirt from you guys and you have some left over from a conference or something. You could create an ad hoc invoice, just a one-off invoice for $25 and send it to each of these individuals they're tagged. You can override member status. So if somebody hasn't paid, but they had a death in the family, you can change their status from lapsed to it wouldn't be lapsed. You're not going to have that. But if you did for some reason, you're really not going to have to worry about that too much. By mass, change your member type. So we did that earlier when we changed your members from members to prospects. So if all 4 of these you knew that you hadn't heard from them in years, you could go ahead and just change all of them to prospects just in one click. You can add to groups or remove from groups. So groups, to do with permission system, there isn't a member type. That member type is really just controlling the length of their membership period, and typically it also they pay in Moz. For you guys, it's really just that they're a member for a year. every time a member type is created in the system, a mirror image of that member type is created called a group, and the group is going to determine permissions. So you're going to see this groups word pop up when we do forms training, content training, social. It's kind of all over the system. The only time I've really seen this used is if you guys have a board of directors and you want to give your board of directors some additional administrative access or maybe some additional content on the front end. You can put them in a special group called board of directors and just give them specific permission to see that information. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does.
All right, and then you can mass undelete profiles from here as well. And I know we're going over just a couple minutes. I'm about to wrap up though. Just a couple things that you can search by, talk how you can search by attributes. You can search by form submissions, who has completed, who has not completed a submission of. I love this, especially for your parents, because you can search for who hasn't completed a submission of our conference registration. And you can send them a targeted email. Hey, I haven't registered for a conference. Make sure you register by this date because you get an early bird rate. Here it is. And then give them the link. You can also use this for who completed a submission of the conference after the fact. Maybe send you can mass send all these individuals a survey and ask them, you know, how was the speaker? How was the food? How was the overall organization? Stuff like that. Just some ideas. You can search by event status. So you'll to mark whether your individual members came, did not come, canceled, didn't register at all, or just registered for. So we're going to talk registrations to help you kind of search to that next level. And then lastly, down at the bottom, by default, it's only ever searching active and grace. That's all you guys ever need because your members will never lapse. You can also search by your deceased members. You can search by deleted profile, and that is what's going to allow you to undelete those profiles and kind of bring them back just as they were the day that you deleted them. Is everything that I have for today. Thanks for hanging with me for a couple of extra minutes. Any questions?
At this point, I would probably default to Vanessa in particular, who is very familiar with our previous system, to see if there's any specific questions. I think she's still on there.
Vanessa, yeah, and you know what, guys? Go ahead, Vanessa.
Hi. Yeah. I don't really have any questions. I'm the type that would they have to go and start using it and then figure out probably the fact question.
Yeah.
But I'm to understand we're not doing any invoicing on this until after the conference.
Correct.
Okay. So basically the questions I had would be concerning the invoicing, not do with membership.
Okay. And so what we might need to do, guys, is like, originally we wanted to launch mid-October. What was the pressure in wanting to do that again?
I don't know if there's any pressure to it. I think more of just giving ourselves a deadline to try to meet.
Okay.
So, I mean, and that was actually a question, you know, as I'm not sure where we are with the website stuff. So it's definitely not a drop. We have to do it, but it was more of a lofty goal. We've got a lot of other stuff going on as well. So, you know, I guess as we near closer to the conference, we're going to have less time to be spending on this. So the sooner we can get it done prior to the conference, the better.
Yeah, you know what, I remember us talking about that now. And so this is what I'm thinking we're probably going to do. Because what's going to happen is we're going to go through these trainings, and that's going to be awesome. But when you guys get ready to start doing your conference next year, you're going to be like, what in the world did that crazy lady talk about for first? Because you're going to be so far removed from it probably. And so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and graduate you guys because we don't want you to hang out in implementation for a year, you know, until you need. But once you get ready and that comes again, I would just, if you have questions, which I feel you would, just to reach back out to me and we'll go back through trainings if we need to. You'll have these recorded as well, but I can help you get all that set up and get to feeling comfortable with having that event in MemberClicks and doing the invoicing in here, since that'll really be your first time. Does that sound like a good plan?
That sounds awesome, actually, yes.
Okay, cool. Because I know if I was you and I got like, you're going to go far deep into this event registration, by the time you get to next year's, you're not even going to, a lot of this will probably be hard to even remember. So we'll just plan on reconnecting. We'll do all of the trainings, do the implementation as usual, but we'll just plan on reconnecting next year before event registration as well again.
Okay.
Do you guys want to go ahead and schedule some time? Have you guys scheduled your social community training with Jay yet?
No, we have not.
So in that follow-up from our kickoff call email, I would have provided his link. If you guys want to go ahead and schedule some time with him, that would be awesome. As far as me, my schedule is a little bit crazy next week. What days are, I thought we could go ahead and schedule our training for next week since we're all on the call. What days work best for you guys?
I don't know if it's days necessarily, as really more time, time of day, I guess.
What time of day?
For it to
What's
be
that
on it,
preference?
to me to be on, it's got to be the 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Central Time?
Yeah, 4. I could probably do 3:30.
Do you guys want to have a training together on Tuesday, 10/10 at 4 o'clock for our content training?